service manager, which is a great person, agreed to like host this for us. So we're going to kick it off here in about a minute. So there's Tony Levinson. Hi, Tony. You realize we don't see these people all the time. Okay, so we already have, I guess how we'll do it, Linda, do you want to keep kind of track of the chats? And then it's kind of hard for, I know it's going to be hard for Jennifer while she's talking. Morning, Elise, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Congratulations on your month. Oh my God. Is that the most, I do keep track of what the Woodlands does, believe it or not. And I think maybe it's the most the Woodlands office has ever done. Do you know?
Probably. Yeah.
I think so. I think so. That is just unbelievable.
Thank you. It's not all like credited to the agents. The agents are working hard.
Took a while. They didn't have offices. They had 2 offices. Then they moved together. And so they were
settling in and working hard.
Anyway, it is exactly 9 o'clock, and I'm Sharon Tusink. I manage the Champions office, and we want to welcome you guys to this education. If you don't know, your managers of the Kingwood, Tomball, Magnolia, Conroe Champions offices get together, and we try to have some training for you, just because it's a little easier to get 5 offices to kind of get together than 21. And so we were talking about what we thought the challenge was right now, and you guys know what it is. It's multiple offers. It's crazy town. So we were thinking about who might be somebody that could share with us and bring some advice to us on this. And I don't know, most of you maybe do know Jennifer Wauhob. She is a top producer in the Katy office. She is a team leader. She's a mom. She's in the under the young realtors. And that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. I probably forgot something. And also does a lot of cool videos, which you guys maybe have seen or not. If you're in the under 40 group, you have probably. But and so we thought, why don't we ask somebody that's doing it right now and does it well? And she's gonna help us on multiple offers. The way we can do this till 10:30. So the way that we thought it'd be the best to do it is to, if you have a question while she's talking, then we're gonna mute everybody except her, and then put it in chat, and then we'll answer the chat questions after her presentation, and then we'll open it up to all the mic. So if there's just something that you say, it's too long for me to put in chat, but I really want to know, we should have time to do that. So Jennifer, did I forget anything about your accolades when I said?
That's fine. The rap sheet doesn't really matter. But no, yeah. And if one of you could, I think once I start screen sharing, I won't be able to see the chat. So if maybe
yes,
some of the managers, if y'all kind of keep track of the questions, and when we get to the end, we can definitely go through those.
Linda's going to do it for us.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Linda. Okay. So I am using a new presentation thing today. So let's see if this works. Does that work?
Yes.
We can see it. Awesome. Okay. Well, like Sharon said, probably one of the biggest roadblocks that agents are facing right now is the multiple offer situation. I've got a team, I've got buyer's agents that I manage. It's been a tough year, and honestly, it can be discouraging. I think it's discouraging for clients when, they want to buy a home, they're trying, they're going out and they're seeing them and they're making the offers and they're getting beat out time and time again. I also think it can be really discouraging for agents, because you're doing the work and you're out there driving around, showing them all the houses, writing the offers, and you're not getting to reap the rewards of your work because of this multiple offer situation. So I can't think of a training that is maybe more needed at the moment. And today we're just going to go through, we can't ever promise our clients that they're going to win out. You just never know. Every deal is different. But there are strategies and things you can do to try to at least help your odds, help your clients work their way up to the top of that pile. This is the face that we want to avoid. There is nothing worse than having to give the news to your clients that they got beat out on a house that they really want. And anytime you make an offer and your client doesn't get it, I think you need to be learning from these as you go. I have started asking, and I've told my agents, if we lose out, we are going to ask and find out, tell us why, just so we know. For the next offer, was it price? Was it the fact that maybe they had a contingency, they had a home to sell? What was it? So we can pass that on to our clients so they know exactly what kept them from getting that house. We're going to talk about preparing your clients. I think doing work on the front end is huge, because this job is really about managing expectations. So we're going to talk about how to get your buyers game day ready. We're going to talk about offer strategies, things you can do actually within the contract to help make your offer stronger. We're going to talk about how you need to be making those listing agents your friend and using them as your ally. They have a lot of helpful information about that house that you can use to help your clients offer. We're going to talk about there are things outside of the contract. It's not all just about that price on the contract. What can you be doing outside of the contract? And then some different programs that are out there that might be able to help your clients. And like I said, you can't ever promise your clients that you know exactly how to get them a house, but you can tell them that you have a strategy, and I'm going to tell you the things you need to do if you want to move this year. Here's a list of things that we can do to help make your offer more competitive. Right now, it used to be if you're a listing agent and you're like, oh, it's sold in 2 days, sold in 3 days. Like now, to me, that's like worthless advertising. Everybody's selling in 2 days. Now, probably the best advertising for yourself you can do is my client's offer got accepted. Because once other buyers see that you are actually getting your clients into homes, it's going to help you generate more business. Your buyers are going to sing your praises. If you won out of 12 offers or 15, gosh, we had one here recently that had 30 offers. If your clients are the ones winning out, they are going to definitely be passing your name along. So let's start with before you even start making offers. And like I said, managing expectations in this job is really one of the best tools a successful agent has. Clients who know what to expect, know what's coming, are calmer, they're easier to work with, they're less emotional, they're less stressed because you prepared them ahead of time. So giving them the information up front and getting them ready in the right mindset for the market that we are in now, so they go into it making strong competitive offers and you're not having to fight them and then they lose 3 houses before they start to listen to you. So before we even get to the contract and what you can do, I want to talk about things you can do to get your clients ready. So one of the first things is this is not the market for every buyer. And I think that is okay to tell some buyers, you know what, like this is not, if they are somebody who wants a deal, there's somebody who likes to lowball, there's somebody who wants to negotiate, this is probably not the market for them. And maybe it's better if they just kind of sit on the sidelines for now. It saves your time, it saves your emotional energy, it saves their time. There's really no need to be driving buyers all over town who then are just going to try to make an offer that's $20,000 below list price. There just isn't, this is how it is. And I think if you educate them up front about, look, this isn't just me telling you, here's a CMA, here's the latest market numbers. You can see, look, houses in the neighborhood you want to be in are selling in 3 days. They're, selling for 105% to list price. Tell them that stuff up first, give them the data. So then they know that like, oh, I've got to make a strong offer whenever I go into this. So preaching that up front is very important. One of the things that I am seeing is I think buyers, when they are starting to lose out on multiple houses, who do they start to blame? Well, it must be somebody's fault we're not getting these houses. It must be my realtors. I had, I think he was like an impact lead that I was kind of chatting with, and he was moving down from Chicago. And, you know, he called and said, we're going to be in town this weekend. Can you show us some stuff? After talking to him for a minute, he goes, yeah, we were working with somebody else, but we've made like 6 offers and we haven't gotten anything. So we think it's time for a change. And I'm thinking, your realtor probably did everything that they were supposed to be doing. It's not your realtor's fault. It's just the market that we're in now. But that is their mentality. When they start to lose out again and again, and they're getting beat down, then they're going to start thinking, well, what do I need to change in this situation? And it might be that their realtor is what they need to change. They might just go off and find somebody else. They might just go to new construction without you. So if you educate them up front, hey, we're probably going to have to make several offers, you know, before you get a house. They know that going in, and then they don't tend to blame you. So educating them on market conditions is really, really important. Do that up front. The second one is, this is the best time ever to try to find things that are not on the market. So I hope you're all familiar with the coming soon status in Matrix. My team, we've been stalking that thing. That is that just went into effect last May, so it's fairly new, and you'd be surprised how many agents don't really know about it and don't really utilize it. So if you have a client looking in a neighborhood, you need to set up a search for yourself that if something gets put into coming soon status in that neighborhood, you get an alert. So you were finding out about these things the minute that an agent is putting them into Matrix. Even if showings can't start for a week, you can then pull that property information. I've sent my clients the address. They'll go drive by it. If it was listed before in MLS, I'll pull the old MLS listing so we can see old pictures at least to try to get a feeling for what it looks like. I don't know if you guys are familiar with RPR, Realtor Property Resource. That's provided to you through the National Association of Realtors. It's free. They have really in-depth, detailed property reports. So you can go pull a bunch of information on this house that isn't even listed yet, and your clients can already know, like, we've already run the comps. We run comps on it first thing, just so my clients can know if they want to make an offer, exactly what they want to do. Reach out to that listing agent. When is this going to hit the market? If I just had an agent contact me this morning on a coming soon listing, when's it going to be available? I said Friday. If it was my buyers, first thing Friday morning, we would have a showing scheduled, you know, so we would be the very first ones in the door. You can do a lot of prep work for houses that haven't become active, because once they become active and they hit the masses, now you're competing with a bunch of other people. So I've even had some people make offers on coming soon listings. They haven't even seen it. You know, it hasn't even hit the market yet, but they have made an offer on it, which technically you can do. You just can't go see it when it's in coming soon status. So make sure you are utilizing that. And then I've never found our office meetings more valuable, you know, getting together with our big offices and saying, hey, I've got a buyer looking for this. Does anybody have something coming up? I know, you know, in our office we were talking, and then I got a relocation listing and went and met with them. And first thing that popped in my head was like, oh, Julie in my office was just saying she needs something with 2 bedrooms down that's zoned to Jordan High School. So I texted her and said, hey, we've got this house coming up. So really use each other, be working the network of agents that you have to see if they have things coming up. And then the last thing, and I don't know if you guys can see it because this little screen share thing, can I move that? Is we have created, and I'll share this with you, a strong offer checklist. So there are all these different things we're going to talk about that you can do to make an offer stronger. We put them all into a checklist, and we are giving them to our buyers up front. So you can talk about it before they've seen a house, they're in love with it, now they're emotional and they're stressed. When they are clear, their minds are calm, you can say, here's a list of things that we can do to make your offer stronger. How many of these things are you able to do? Not everybody is able to waive an appraisal, the right to terminate, you know, they may not have the funds. Not everybody is able to maybe necessarily waive the contingency to sell their house. How many things can you do? Because the more things you can do on this list, the stronger your offer is going to be. And this is what that list looks like. So we have found, I'm honestly surprised, giving this to them up front and saying, here are all the things that we recommend that you can do to make your offer stronger. And my clients will call me back and they'll go, yeah, we can do all these. You know, I mean, they'll read all of them just because you told them about it up front. You can educate them. I mean, what does it mean to shorten your option period? What does it mean to if a lot of people are waiving, you know, the right to terminate to appraisal, what does that mean? Talk them through it all up front. Again, they're not attached to a house yet. They're not emotionally invested in anything just quite yet. So you can have a really good conversation with them. They can, you know, while they are of sound mind, say, okay, yeah, we can do this one. Yeah, yes, I am flexible on closing date. Yeah, I don't mind offering them a lease back. You can talk through all of those things up front. And that way, when it is time to make your offer, they're already, like, their mind is already in the right mindset. You know, they are game day ready. They know that these are things that other people are going to be doing, and they're already ready to do it. So you're not having to try to like pull them up or push them to do things that make them uncomfortable or give them bad advice. You're just providing this to them and saying, what of these things, what are you able to do and what do you feel comfortable with? And I'm happy to share this list at the end. But again, it's just all about managing the expectations. When right up front, you're telling them they're probably going to have to offer at or above asking price. Now it's not even an option to try to come in low. When right up front, you're saying, look, you can't not be pre-qualified. Like, you need to already have your letter together. You need to, you know, have jumped through all the hoops. You need to be ready to go. Then they'll go do that. So it's all about providing the stuff to them up front. And that way they are ready to go. They're strong buyers. They're going to make strong offers. They're going to know exactly what they need to do going into it. So they're not going to be stressed or freaking out. And it's going to help you whenever the time comes to make the offer. They've already got all this stuff in their mind. So getting together some type of checklist or presentation ahead of time. Don't just take people right now and show them a house and then write an offer. Like, you really need to be doing consultations with buyers just because of the way the market is. So really educate them and let them know what's coming and what to expect. Then next, this little bar is just always in my way. There we go. Okay, now we're going to talk about all the things you can do to make your offer stronger. Everybody focuses on price, and I'm going to sit here and tell you price still really matters. You know, it's not the only thing in the contract that matters, but at the end of the day, it is really hard to overcome a price that is $10,000 or $15,000 above whatever your offer is. But every single blank in that contract is a chance for you to improve your offer. So that way, if you offered $10,000 over, or maybe you offered full price and somebody else offered the exact same amount, but you've done all these other things, now your offer is the stronger offer out of the two. So think about it. Think through the contract, think through the third party, think through the HOA addendum. Every single blank is a chance for you to make your offer more attractive to the seller. And again, these are great things to talk about with your clients up front. You know, so when the time comes, they've already said, yeah, we don't mind paying for the title policy. Yeah, we don't mind a shorter option period. Yeah, we don't mind putting down more earnest money. So just think through the contract, the title policy. You know, I mean, it's $1,000 or $2,000, but still it's coming out of the seller's pocket. And there's nothing that says the sellers have to pay for it. So your buyers can offer to do that. Don't ask for extra stuff. Don't ask for, you know, boundary coverage. Maybe don't necessarily ask for a home warranty. Talk to your buyers about the fact that they can buy a home warranty, or maybe you could even do it as their closing gift, get a home warranty for them. You know, you don't have to ask for these things. I think I see a lot of agents, they've been writing contracts the same way for so long, and they're just they'll go really over on price, and then they'll still leave everything else, you know, asking for home warranties, asking for sellers to pay for things within the contract. Toss out however you've been writing offers. You need to write your offers for the market that we're in now. So don't ask for little additional things. Anything that you can take out is good. Contingencies. The number of contingencies in the contract, if you can eliminate them or at least shorten them, that will make your offer more attractive to a seller, because explain to your buyers, every contingency is a question mark. You know, during the option period, that seller now has to sit for 5, 7, 10 days wondering if you're going to go through. That financing period, you know, for 21 days, they're not totally sure if your loan's going to get approved. You know, if you've got to sell a house, obviously, you know, that's a really hard contingency to overcome right now, because you have all these other strong offers. So the fewer contingencies there are, and if you have to have a contingency, at least shorten it, the better. So like the option period. There's no reason that you can't get an inspector out there quickly, negotiate repairs within a shorter amount of time. You don't necessarily need 10 days. So that's something that can make your offer more attractive. Offering a higher option fee. I have seen, and I didn't put backup offers in here, but we should maybe talk about that. I'm primarily the listing agent for our team. 4 out of the last 5 listings that we have had to go through multiple buyers, because buyers are so caught up in this crazy, we just got to get the house, we got to get the house, and they're making crazy offers. And then once they get the house, they're going, oh, actually, this isn't really the neighborhood we wanted to be in, and they're backing out. If your clients wrote a backup offer, now your clients get that house. So we might need to talk about that later. But option fee, a lot of buyers are opting out. So show that you've got some skin in the game, offer maybe a higher option fee to the seller. So if you do opt out in those, 5 days or 7 days, however many you put in there, they're at least going to be compensated more than just $100. So that's something too. A larger down payment. We're really looking at this right now, especially with all the appraisal waivers that are going on. Do they have money? Do they have the funds? And I don't think it hurts in these days to ask for proof of funds if they're doing a really large down payment, not just your pre-approval letter, but also, proof of funds showing, yes, we actually do have this amount of cash in the bank to buy that house. I mean, as the listing agent, you want to protect your sellers. So don't be surprised if listing agents ask for that. So offering more down, shorten or eliminate contingencies. Like I just said, can you get financing approval faster? Can you get through the option period faster? Can you remove that? Do they have to sell their house in order to buy? Any contingencies you can get rid of, the better. Little HOA fees, transfer fees, things like that. Again, every blank is a chance to improve your offer. The right to terminate due to appraisal. This is just, it's very prevalent right now. And I know on my listings, I don't think I've had one in the last 3 to 4 months that we didn't have somebody waive their right to terminate due to the appraisal. So it is happening. Buyers are offering it. It's something to talk about with your clients. Do they have some cash come out of pocket? Look at the comps. Is there a chance it's going to come in low? Are you just so crazy high? Have that conversation. If they understand what they're doing, the risk that they're taking, and they've got the money and they're okay with it, then obviously that is going to strengthen your offer. So that's something to think about too. And then price still matters. Like I just said, you can write the love letters, you can, offer to pay for the home warranty yourself, pay for the title policy. But at the end of the day, if you're $15,000 less than the next offer, you're probably going to lose out. We just had some buyers this last weekend, multiple offer situation. They had written a letter to the seller. They live currently in the same little subdivision. I think they kind of had some mutual friends. The listing agent called and said, you're not the highest. Tried to get us to come up some, said, but, they really want to work with you guys, because of the other things that we had done. We were just about to sign the contract. At the last minute, somebody came in $10,000 more than us. And they said, you know what, sorry, we just can't, we can't afford to not take it. So even those personal connections, can, at the end of the day, price is still really important. So it doesn't do any good to do all this other stuff and then not offer a strong price. Offer an odd amount. I figured this out on the listing side a while back, because when I would have listings and we would get multiple offers, I would notice everybody would go to the next highest, just even amount. If the house was listed for, 300, everybody would offer 305, or everybody would offer 310. $5,000 and $10,000 increments seem to be what people move up in. I started noticing I'd get one offer for 310, 500. They just added $500 on the end, and it was just enough to bump them up. If some people are looking at price and all the other terms are the same, it was just enough to make them different. So offer an even amount, offer 312, 316, just add $1,000 onto the end of whatever you were going to offer. And sometimes that can be the difference. Lease backs and flexible closing dates. Okay. Think about, you're a seller right now. You want to sell your house, but now you have to turn around and buy a new home. Now you're in the same situation as every buyer that's out there fighting for a house. So we have a lot of sellers that are like, look, we want to sell, we want to move. We don't have a house yet because we can't make the offer on that next house till we get this house sold. So if you can be flexible, offer flexibility to those sellers, that can be a really attractive thing. I mean, you can do a temporary lease back, and maybe one of the managers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think up to 3 months, you can write one of those temporary lease backs. So if you can give them a couple of months afterwards to find something and get moved in, that would be very attractive to sellers right now. So if you have a buyer who is in a flexible situation, then let the seller know that. Okay, now I want to talk about the listing agent. I think a lot of people overlook this. I notice as a listing agent right now, I'll just get offers that show up in my email. You know, the agent never reached out to me. They didn't ask me a single question. And then I have the agents that they call. They get me talking. What a beautiful house. Where are they going? You know, they start asking for information. They start, you know, kind of buddying up to me. And you know what? Those agents get more information out of me because they took the time to reach out, to ask questions, and to build some rapport. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it matters. The listing agent is going to have to co-op with whoever they pick. And if you've got one agent who is just awesome and is being really professional and is taking the time to reach out and is building rapport, and then you have another agent that, you know, sent you an offer where the price was really high, but it was missing documentation and they've been rude, you know, as a seller, I'm probably going to be like, hey, I might, you know, kind of steer him towards that other offer where you have a very professional agent on the other side. So you want to make that listing agent your friend, basically. Like I said, call them on the phone. Try to talk to them, you know, let them hear your voice, let them know that you are a professional full-time agent, you know, you're trying to do the best you can for your clients. What I've been saying recently, move y'all over here, is tell me about your sellers. We want to put together the best offer we can. What would their ideal offer look like? You know, because then they might say, well, they don't want to move until school's out, so they want to stay in the house until, you know, middle of June. They really don't want to move the play set, you know, so if somebody could take that off their hands. They just got that washer and dryer. They don't want to leave it. You know, just get them talking. What would their ideal offer look like? And sometimes you can get more valuable information than the other agents who just write up a really high offer and send it over. So they can gain insight. They can tell you about the seller situation. If they're in a rush to move, maybe you can offer a shorting closing date. If they need time, you can be flexible. And here's a big one that I don't think a lot of agents are doing right now, and that we have started doing. Tell them, they don't necessarily have to do it, but ask them, if we are not the highest offer, will you let me know? You know, they can come back to you and say, and I have had listing agents come back and say, you know, if you would come up to 480, you would be in the running. So don't just send over the offer and then be like, well, let me know how it goes. Ask them, say, you know, my clients really want this. If we're not the strongest, can you tell me? And come back to me and let me know before they make a decision. Send me a counter offer. You know, if you're the only agent that asks for that, then you're probably the only agent that's going to get that. And that can, again, be what moves you up to the very top. So really have a dialogue with them and talk to them and let them know these clients really love the house. I'm working so hard to get them in this house. Help me out. What can you tell me? I had one recently. The buyers, we had, 12 offers, I think. One of them was an agent I had worked with before, had co-opted with before, and he just kept calling me and saying, Jennifer, come on. Hey, will 425 get it? Well, will 430? You know, I'm not going to tell him the exact number of what my highest offer is, but I mean, he was working it and he definitely got more information out of me than other ones. So don't be afraid to do that. You want to get the house for your clients. And then there's things outside of the contract. So not just all the blanks that there are to fill in, but there are other things that you can do. Presentation matters to me as a listing agent, and I think to other ones too. If you send me a professionally written out email, if you have all of your documentation together, you send me the whole package, the seller's disclosure and everything, that tells me right off the bat, you're going to be an easy agent to work with because you're on top of things. I get so many offers where, you know, they didn't attach the HOA addendum, they didn't send us the seller's disclosure, you know, they just sent us the contract, they didn't send us a lot of other things that are needed, you didn't send me your pre-approval. They just send it over, they don't ask for confirmation, they didn't call me. A really well written out email presenting your offer and saying, you know, I'm so excited to present you my client's offer. We even right now are kind of doing some bullet points within our offer email. We're pleased to offer you our client's offer. It's over list price with a lease back until this date at no charge. We're even kind of pointing out some of the highlights just right there in the email before they even get to the offer, letting them know. In our case, we have we have a team, but you don't even necessarily have to have a team. Say, you know, I really want to have a smooth transaction. I promise you, if my client's offer is accepted, I'll do everything I can to get us to the closing table. You know, just build rapport, be professional. That makes a difference when they are sorting through offers. It will definitely help work in your favor if you have everything together. Letters to the seller. Okay, so let's talk about this. I know NAR and, you know, fair housing law is really, they don't encourage people writing love letters to the seller. In this market, they're being written anyway. I don't think they're a bad thing. You know, if the seller's lived in that house their whole life, and you know that they have emotional attachment to that house and they want the house to go to somebody else who's going to love it as much as they do, a letter can really set you apart. My advice is, don't make the letter about your buyers. Don't send them the pictures. Don't be like, oh, you know, because that's where you can get into the fair housing thing. If somebody were to discriminate, make it about the seller. We love the garden you have in the backyard. We like to garden too. We can't wait to spend our evenings out there. I was just at dinner last night with another realtor. She said she had clients, they loved their kitchen and everybody else, and it was kind of dated. And, you know, somebody else came in and wrote a letter and said, we love this kitchen. Like, we have no plans to remodel. And they picked that buyer because that buyer didn't want to remodel their kitchen that they really love. So let the buyer tell them what they love about the house. Everybody likes to be flattered. Except, again, if there's 10 offers and only 1 or 2 of you wrote letters, it definitely separates you from the pack. Finding a connection. This is something we talk about, especially if you've ever taken the C&E designation, the certified negotiation expert. If there's anything that your buyer and that seller have in common, people like to work with people, you know, who are like them. So if you go in and the sellers have their diploma up there from A&M and your buyers went to A&M, don't think I wouldn't be mentioning that in my email or in my letter. You know, that maybe you walk in and they've got their marathon medals all over the wall. My client's a marathoner. Maybe they go to the same church. I mean, just if there's any type of connection that you can form, I would definitely mention that, because that is something else that sellers really like. And then in this market, getting creative doesn't hurt. I have seen people offering to send you know, here's our offer over list price. We'll give you a lease back and we'll send you 3 pizzas on moving day. You know, we'll send you cookies on the day you move out. People are getting kind of creative. I don't think there's anything, you know, as long as it's small and you're not breaking any laws, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, it's something that just separates you from everybody else. So if there's a little creative thing you can think about to do for those sellers, then by all means, I would offer it. You know, we'll give you a gift card for 200 tacos if you if you go with our offer. So getting creative. And then just lastly, if you have buyers, you know, I know cash and contingencies right now are the 2 big things. If you have a cash buyer, it's really hard to beat them out. And if you have a buyer who has to sell their house, it's really, really tough. There are programs out there, and I think it's on us as agents to know what's available so we can tell our clients about it, that can help people who are moving. So NOC has a home swap program. I am familiar with this one. There's a couple on here I haven't used, but this one I am familiar with. You have to go through a little certification program with NOC on just how it works. But basically, they will finance the buyer's, it's kind of an equity advance. They will finance the buyer's new home so they can buy their house and then sell their other one. They let you as the agent list their house. They do charge the buyers, I think it's about a 1% fee of what the sales price is. They have to qualify depending on, you know, their credit and how much equity they have in their home, but that is an option. Orchard, I haven't heard too much about, but I think Orchard and I know Homeward are ones that will give them cash up front. So then they can make a cash offer. I have an agent friend who has used Homeward. I personally have not used it, but I'm going to look into that one too. Same thing with Ribbon Home. There are programs out there that will help you get into your next house, and then they will either buy your old house from you. They will, you know, they'll front you the money for the new house, and then you pay them when your old house sells. If you have a client who has a lot of equity in their house, maybe they can pull that equity out to pay cash for the next house. there are options out there. So have them talk to their loan officer, you know, if there's a type of bridge loan they can do, something that will make them a cash buyer. You know, those are things that are worth looking into. And like I said, I'm only familiar with a couple on this list, but when I was doing some research, some other ones came up. And so they would definitely be worth digging into because you want to, if you talk to buyers right now, they want to buy, but they're just, you know, they're like, well, we can't, you know, we're not going to, we can't afford to go $30,000 of the list price. We don't have cash, you know, let them know, well, hey, there are some options for you. Let's sit down and talk about it. You know, don't necessarily just dismiss somebody because they don't have cash or they have a house to sell. Let them know there are programs out there. And if you get educated on them and they can sit down and talk them all through it, you know, you never know. One of them could work for them. And that is all that I have. So I will.
Okay, can you see the chats? Do you want
now
to scroll
I
through
can,
some of
yes.
these? Okay. So do you want to just go through them?
Okay, so let me kind of scroll back up here. Okay, I go to the top. Okay, what's my opinion of buyers buying a home sight unseen? I personally would never buy a house without having been in it. I did have, especially during quarantine, buyers that were out of state, and then we did video tours, you know, and they did make an offer. They were able to come see it finally during the option period. So I do think getting them in there at some point, because the last thing you want is to get somebody under contract, and then when they actually see the house in person, they don't like it. So, but technology is a great thing. So, you know, those video tours, FaceTiming, and then you're kind of their eyes and ears. You can tell them like, hey, there's actually the street behind it is actually kind of noisy, or it smells funny. You know, the things that they can't get on video. So I think that, I mean, I would at least, we go that far. And then I'd say, if you really want to do it, then come see it in person. But you can narrow them down without seeing them in person. Somebody said offering an odd number instead of an even number. They were ahead of the game. They're with me on that. Higher option fee. Do you prepare them to be a backup? Yes. So like I was just saying, now is a really, before I was never big on backup offers. You know, it was kind of a lot of work and they have to put earnest money down, and very rarely would the deal fall through. But in this market, we are seeing people opt out so much. Yes. I would absolutely talk to your buyers. If they don't get it, say, let's go ahead and sign a backup contract. And that way, if something happens, you are next in line. Slides, I will share the slides. Lease back options, yes. 90 days, but a lender had only allowed for 60 days. Yeah, talk to their lender and see what their options are. But, you know, if you do maybe a little bit longer close date, you know, instead of 30 days, maybe you do 45, and then you offer them a 60-day lease back, you're giving them almost 3 months to find a new house. I mean, they could even, if something was being built, you know, could almost be finished in that amount of time if it's already been started. So definitely being flexible with them is a huge thing right now. What else? They want to connect. Seller left my buyer's 2-page letter. We all cried. See, you just never know. And then I saw Sharon said Gibraltar can do loans where they can buy before they sell. Absolutely talk to your mortgage friends about what the options are, because there are options, like I said, where they don't have to be. If you can remove that contingency to sell your home before you buy your new one, I mean, that alone is going to help you with your buyers. Some people, I see people are sharing their war stories in here. Can I play you a song on the piano? Maybe. I think I should write a song about multiple offers. There we go. I don't see a lot of first questions. I will share the slides. I will share the strong offer checklist. And that's something that you guys can customize yourselves. I mean, we kind of put that together really quickly, and I can even now think of a thing or two that we could add onto it. But again, just giving them something up front, you know, handing them a piece of paper and saying, think about this, what can you do? You'll be surprised how many things that they can do, and then you're not having to fight them on it.
Thank you, but could we unmute, and maybe some people have a question that they didn't put in chat because we have some time, and guess if Linda, do they have to unmute themselves, or can you unmute them, Linda?
And they can unmute themselves, and
Okay.
then that way there's a lot of background if somebody else has a dog or something barking.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to share an idea, I was wondering, do you think that you could maybe offer to pay money toward a seller's move? Like, because that would be, I don't know how the lender would feel about that in the contract, but it's not,
And the buyer can also offer to pay some of the commission. I mean, some of the closing, it's not illegal. So if the buyer wants to offer it, they can offer it.
The buyer do the seller's closing cost instead of the other way.
Yeah, we'll help you with your closing costs.
Because those things help with the option, with the owner's title policy, et cetera, because it doesn't raise the price of the house. It lowers the price of the house, so you have less of an appraisal issue. So it's a great idea. Anybody else want
We've
to
actually seen a couple of those, Sharon, a couple offers that are coming through now with them offering to pay the seller contribution. So I'm so glad you guys brought that up.
It's just money in the seller's pocket, but it doesn't raise the appraisal. Are you seeing this, that I think you said you were, is that the offer that people like go way over and they say they don't care about the appraisal, but then when the appraisal comes in, they go, oh, I'm walking from my $3,000 use, and the seller's like moved or gonna move. And so we've had several that the buyer said they would waive the appraisal, but then when it comes in, then they're whining and saying, and then the seller doesn't want to go through the whole thing again. And the sellers are sometimes lowering their price. What do you have to comment about that, Jennifer?
So what we have done, if you think, if the prices are just, your offers are getting crazy high, and so you just know that you're probably going to have an appraisal issue. What we have done a couple times, we have asked the buyers to go ahead and order the appraisal during the option period. So just instead of waiting, because if you think about it, usually they don't order that till you're through the option period, and then it's another week or two before they come out. So sometimes you're 21, 25 days, into contract before that appraisal comes back. We did ask a buyer, order it right out of the gate. And so that way we had it back around the same time that the option period was about to be up. And so had it worked out, but had it just come in so low, at least we only wasted, 7 or 8 days under contract. And, the buyers at that point, the sellers haven't moved and packed and all of that. So that's an option too, there's no rule that says you can't order the appraisal as soon as you execute the contract, if the buyers are willing to go ahead and pay for it.
Because unfortunately, just because the buyers say in the heat of the moment, they don't care about the appraisal comes and they care about it. Yeah. And they try to wiggle out. And then of course you have to take them to court or mediation to get your money. So maybe have you thought about maybe a buyer putting down extra, instead of earnest money after the option, a non-refundable deposit to the seller?
Yeah.
And make that as an offer, because if it goes through after the option, then the seller would say, well, hey, I'm not going to fight for earnest money. I'm going to have this. I know I'll have this money if for some reason this guy backs out.
That's a good option. And also on that addendum for the right to terminate due to appraisal, there's the first box, which says we waive it, like we promise to buy it, whether it appraises or not. There's the second box that says up to this amount. So if your sellers are like, yeah, we can swing it if it comes a little low, up to about $20,000, and then we're in a tight spot, well, then you could check that second box and you're still offering the seller some protection. It isn't as much as a waiver, but at least you're being very clear up front of, if it appraises at this price or more, even if that's not your sales price, we will purchase it. And that way, if you just get a really, really low appraisal, you have an out.
Anybody else have a question or comment of what you're seeing or how you've overcome the multiple offer situation? Because I know we have a lot of very bright people here on our Zoom that have also some ideas.
We did offer, we did use the appraisal addendum, but the price that the appraisal had to come in on was the list price, not our offer price, which was 15,000 over, because my buyer said, well, I have the cash to cover that. So I made sure to point that out in the email when I sent the offer over as well.
There's one thing too, I'm seeing it in the chat, kind of talking about buyers that then get buyer's remorse. You know, like I said, it's so crazy. People are caught up in it, and then they actually get the house and they change their mind. And we've been having a lot of conversations lately about, you know, are these people, prices are getting so high, are these people going to be upside down in a couple of years? Are we putting them in a bad spot? You know, I think that's something to talk about with your buyers and just let them know. First, we don't have a crystal ball. You know, I mean, none of us could have predicted what happened this last year and that prices would skyrocket. You know, we can't predict if maybe something's going to happen next year where there's a recession. So we don't have a crystal ball, but let them know, you know, prices have been up. So now this is kind of set where the market is. You know, we use comps to get home values. So now when you look at sales, this is where they're going to be. You know, they might go down a little bit. They're probably, without a recession, they're not going to go down sharply. Overall, home prices tend to, over time, appreciate. So if they're going to be in this house for 5, 7, 10 years, then they're probably going to be okay. And then the other thing too is, well, what if they have to sell in 3 years and they, you know, they have to come out of pocket some to sell? That's something to talk to your buyers about too. But it's also, you know, if you sell 3 years from now and you have to come out of pocket $10,000, you know, because prices were so inflated when you bought, you know, really, you didn't lose $10,000. You paid $10,000 to live there for 3 years, you know? So kind of talk them through that. I think that's a big thing right now. Some people are like, well, I'm not going to buy because it's so high, you know, and I don't want to overpay, you know, but talk them through, well, if it appreciates in the course of the next 5 or 7 years, it appreciates to even higher than where it is now. Well, then you still made a good investment, even if you bought at the top of the market for right now. So I think those are important things to talk to them about. And then the buyer's remorse. I mean, I find it with a lot of buyers, even not ones that have paid over. It's just kind of part of that like emotional roller coaster that buyers go on. So once we get an option period and they start to think, I don't know, this needs to be fixed, you know, I kind of let them know that it's normal to feel that way. And yes, if they really don't think this is the house, they have every right to walk away. But just sometimes telling them that like, this is really common. It's a huge purchase and people get excited about it. And then they get in the repair negotiations and they kind of start to stress and fret. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decision? And then towards the end, once you get to closing, they get excited again. So even just kind of explaining to them that's the normal life cycle of a buyer sometimes gets them through it, just to know that, you know, they're not alone. Everybody feels that way when they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars buying something.
I also think that it's good to counsel your buyers and tell them there's a difference between fair market value and appraised value, and that if there's 5 offers on a house and there isn't any unforeseen thing like foreclosure, then that is market value, what a willing buyer will pay a willing seller. Then the appraiser comes in and is working for the lender and is looking at past data and can't really take into consideration that, you know, you got 12 offers. Mm-hmm. And then they think that this individual who drops in from the sky or Galveston and says their house is this worth this, they put more value on that person's opinion, and an appraisal is an opinion of value. It's an estimate of value. It's supposed to be market value, but common sense tells you that if you have 5 offers, the buyer set the market. So it's, even before this, it was so irritating. People put so much value on what one individual person says that its house is worth. And if you have 2 appraisers that are both good, both experienced, both know what they're doing, they could be 5% up or down of each other and still be right, because it's an estimate that the lender wants to protect themselves if they have to take the house back into foreclosure. And also there's nothing in it for the appraiser to make it high. He's not going to get a bonus if he goes too high and it goes into foreclosure. Actually, I think they can kick him off the list if that happens. So I think that thinking that the appraiser is the one that's picking the value of the home is always kind of a misinformation or idea about what's really going on. And we're having Sean from Gibraltar, it's the company that that Gibraltar uses for appraisal speak in our office meeting, and you guys, if you're, ask your managers, and he'll talk about that too, I think. So anyway, just my 2 cents.
I totally agree. I let them know 5 different appraisals, you'll get 5 different values. I saw somebody asked in there, is there a certain percentage that you're typically offering over list price? And then I saw 2 people commented around 20 grand. I will say that too, as a listing agent, I've kind of noticed 20 to 25,000 over seems to be kind of the norm of what we're getting. And that's, I mean, I'm in Katy, so that's my market.
No matter, but is that the same if it's a $200,000 house or a $600,000 house even?
Mine are all kind of in that $300,000 to $600,000 range. I think higher ends, maybe not, but that would be a good time to talk to the listing agents in your office, because they're the ones getting all the offers. They see what's coming in and say, hey, what are you seeing? And somebody had a listing in that neighborhood. Hey, about how far over were people going? It's good to ask around.
Okay, anyone else? While you have her, just use her information and experience. Don't be shy. Anybody else? Oh, somebody said, did I share correctly? You can write an offer with non-refundable earnest money. Usually we use it when a buyer wants to extend the contract and the seller doesn't want to, you know, so then the buyer can say, I'll give the seller, and Diane said, don't say extra earnest money, say extra non-refundable deposit to the seller, and the check's made out to the seller. And so that is how sometimes people get a seller to extend when the buyer's sure they're going to close, but they just, you know, need a few more days. So you can do that, and it's called non-refundable deposit. And it is paid directly to the seller. And I guess you could do that. That'd be a little risky. I guess you could do that and say, I'll give this earnest money, and then after the option period, I'll give an additional non-refundable deposit to the seller. Now, you know, he's not getting that back. But if he's sure he's going to get the house, if he really wants it, that would make his offer really strong, because the seller would say, well, the worst thing that can happen to me is that I'm going to get this money. If I have to put it back on the market, I still got $3,000 or $4,000 that I didn't have before.
So smart. And, you know, I just think, you know, there's about 100 of you on this call today. Learning these little nooks and crannies and tricks in the contract are they're gonna set you apart from other agents out there who aren't doing these things, and they're just running all over, showing 50 houses, writing 10 offers, you know, writing them for over list price and throwing them against the wall and hoping that they stick. You know, you guys are really learning the strategies to make a competitive, strong offer. So just right out of the gate, your clients are going to be more competitive than other ones out there.
Anybody else? Well, we really want to thank you, Jennifer. I know everybody learned. I learned a lot. I know everybody did, and I'm sure we're going to end up getting more of our buyers through because of just a few of these hints, and we really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. And you know, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe we need an impact to drop in some of this multiple offer, you know, the checklist and things like that we can be providing. Yes. So that way, company wide, everybody has access to tools that'll help them. And then if you guys want to hear any other, you know, topics, tell your manager. These are the type of things that's happening real. It's happening now. You're learning from the very best in the industry about what's going on. And we want to bring that to you in things like this. And so if you have anything that you want, just let your manager know and we'll get it scheduled.
Great job, Jennifer.
Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say a great job. It was so fun, Sharon. I'm glad I got on. And Jennifer, we'll make sure, get those checklists to Lindsay and make sure they get in impact, because I agree, having a checklist and meeting and doing those councils up front with buyers. I am next door to a house that just got listed, and buyers are driving by wanting in immediately. They don't have representation. I've been calling one of our offices near and say, get over here. There's, you know, people out. If I had a new listing, I'd probably set and make that my office for about 3 days when it gets listed, because I'm telling you, they're coming out like crazy with no representation. And, you know, have somebody set on your new listings, because their buyers are out circling when they come out and they get it on Zillow or HAR, wherever they're finding these properties. They want in. It was funny.
Okay, guys, we did record this. We will be sending the recording to your managers so they can forward it to you. And you guys, good luck with your buyers. Thank you so much again, Jennifer.
Thank y'all for having me.
Bye.
Anytime.